This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sound check.
All right, Marion County Commission meeting here at 12:30, March 20. Is it the 9th already? Yeah,
29th.
March 29th. Yeah, oh, my bad. March 29th, 2021. And public comments is going to start us off. Is there something on the board?
It's just me.
Just you?
I sent the sign check out.
Okay. All righty.
I see that Laura's microphone is green,
Travis's is working, so.
so I don't know if there's a public comment there. I did put this little, you had talked about wanting to have some sort of a notification, and so I do have that on the screen and in the chat, and now that and I did say that during public comments, if somebody wants to make a comment, to unmute their microphone if they want to speak,
Right.
or to type it in the chat. So,
I'm going to ask one more time. Is there anybody out there on public comment who wants to speak? I don't see any green buttons up there.
nope.
Okay. Agenda approval. Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda this morning or afternoon? I'm stuck on morning today for some reason.
I did have a change. I had put on a commission discussion for personnel performance, and that is no longer needed today, so I have taken that off your agenda. So,
Do we know whether this man's going to need anything or whether we don't know anything?
I still have his time on, and generally
Okay.
a lot of his time is in executive, so.
Okay, all righty. So,
And then I'd have a couple things under commission comments, just for future discussion. When we get there. Don't cut me off.
You said don't cut him off.
well, I was going to say, I wonder if you're going to give me time to get there yet. I don't know.
Don't adjourn the meeting. It's not an agenda item, just to let you know.
Okay, all right. Well, since Mr. Commissioner Mueller has a couple comments, go ahead.
No, at the end of the meeting.
At the end of the meeting.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, Commissioner.
I was going to open it up for the beginning of the meeting too.
We've got other items on the agenda. We'll do it at the end.
Okay, do it at the end. All right. Anybody else have any commission comments?
It'll keep everybody watching, staying tuned.
Okay. Moving ahead with the administrative business.
Okay. I have a COVID update from Deidre this morning. She says as of 7:30 this morning, we are at 650 positive confirmed PCR cases, 374 probable, 2 active and 2 hospitalizations, and 24 vital statistic confirmed deaths. Marion County is in the yellow. The rolling 14-day positivity rate through March 20th is 5.3%. She says 7 positives out of 133 total. That doesn't seem right, that percent. Would that make us in the yellow?
7 positive when we had 2 active.
I'm sorry, I don't remember what our positive rate was last time. So, but she says we are in the yellow.
It was 4.7 before.
Oh, okay, so it didn't, maybe it's up above 5 is yellow.
Yeah, above 5.
Okay,
Above 10 is red.
yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't
That-
sure.
It really plays out in nursing homes for testing.
Okay, she said this week the vaccination clinics are as follows. 100 Moderna prime dose vaccinations will be administered at the County Lake Hall Tuesday from 9 to 11. Johnson & Johnson will be given at the Lake Hall Thursday, April 1st from 4 to 6:30 p.m. According to Governor Kelly, on Friday, Kansas is moving into phase 5. Kansas has become the 8th state to make vaccines available to all adults, joining Alaska, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Utah, and West Virginia. Every adult in Kansas is encouraged to get vaccinated. The FDA has authorized the emergency use of Moderna and Johnson & Johnson in individuals 18 years of age and older under the emergency use authorization. Pfizer has received authorization in individuals 16 years of age and older under the emergency use authorization. 113 booster doses and 6 prime were administered on March 24th at the Hillsborough City Building. Friday, March 26th, 24 Pfizer boosters were administered at the Health Department and 78 boosters were administered at Tabor. 46 boosters and 1 prime were administered at the Gossel School. 44 boosters and 7 prime were administered at Peabody School and the Health Department. The last scheduled pod is 400 booster doses, April 7th at Tabor. Vaccine will continue to be distributed to Hillsborough Hospital and St. Luke Clinic for administration. The online scheduler connected to our electronic health records will allow individuals to schedule their appointments online. The Health Department Facebook page and the Marion County website will contain the link for individuals to schedule appointments online. The online scheduling will start for appointments for the week of April 6th. And that is the COVID update.
Okay.
Okay.
Any discussion? Anybody have anything on discussion? You want to discuss that?
Just one thing that kind of doesn't ever get highlighted, but last week we had 3 hospitalizations. We're down to 2 and no added deaths, so that's some good news. Just
Okay. I have the minutes from March 22nd and also the minutes from March 23rd.
March 22nd and March 23rd. I make motion to approve both.
second.
Have a second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope. Unanimous.
Okay, there's one on each side here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try opening this again. Okay. We have some change orders.
I'm gonna send these around in case some of the new guys haven't seen the front sheets.
Their packet.
I'll have to get the team the rest of the we should just go around. Probably go down the hall.
in your packet and on your screen, there was an amended contract for consulting services with Bachman and Company, and that is for the planning and zoning consultant. And this new contract changes the fee from $100 an hour to $125 an hour, and I think that was the only change. I believe Sharon's on if you have any questions.
Sharon, do you have any statement towards this? I mean, everything, we're not changing anything. You're happy with what we got?
Yeah, I think Russ has been a real asset.
Okay. Any commission comments?
Is what kind of ballpark financial per year is this gonna be? Because I don't know how many, I mean, if you're talking a limited amount of hours, it's not a big deal. But if it's a lot of hours, it's a 25% increase, so.
Yeah, but we're looking at probably wind farm coming in, so there could be a lot more consulting I can see.
Okay.
So I don't know. Sharon, do you have a clue? I mean, I don't think we have a clue, do we?
I couldn't hear everything that Jonah said. Sorry.
That's all right.
I was wondering what kind of an annual financial impact you guesstimate this to be.
I could look back at our annual expenses last year and give you a total on what we spent last year. We've had some lawsuits and different things. We had the big public hearing for Expedition Wind last year. We've used him more over the past year or two than what would be typical, I would say.
Yeah, well, that would be what I would expect to see is of what's coming.
Do you expect anything, when they turn their building permits in, do you expect anything to be needed there from him on those?
Not on the building permit side. We are still in the process of an appeal that he may have to appear or have some sort of statements for.
Okay.
Are we losing connections?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Does any commissioner have any other comments that they'd like to talk about? Or if not, I'd make a motion to approve the change from 100 to 125 and maintain Bachman Company for our planning and zoning.
I'll second.
I have a second by Dave Crowfoot down there. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 5-0. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, no, I was just trying to look that up for you real quick, that nothing seems to move quickly here, so it's okay.
Well, that's just information. I mean, I know what we've got in front of us, so I'm not gonna suggest making a change at this point.
Okay, so I have the agreement here for signatures.
I'm looking for a yay or nay, but not on that one.
I gotta look to see where I'm supposed to sign.
Yeah.
So I used to jump on the second line.
Yeah.
Watch the wind roll through. Dave's hair.
First day, not second day.
Morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this thing under the door so it doesn't keep moving, but if you need to get out, just keep running the things that we're not kind of. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I was handed area fuel bids this morning, so I'm assuming that I should present that during administrative time.
Yeah, I would make a recommendation, or I mean, a motion to go with depths on all three areas.
Okay, we have a recommendation first by Jonah. I will read it off so the public can hear this. EPS was $11,166.20. Cooperative grain was $11,660 even. And Lincolnville MFA was $12,269.72. So Jonah's motion is to accept EPS at $11,166.20.
That's it.
Kent Becker, second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. For EPS service. All three.
Just to follow up on the trailer discussion from last week, Josh had followed up with the company, and they said they would take $250 off each trailer if we bought two. So he went ahead with just the one, but I wanted to report that back to you.
At least they did something.
Yeah, 'cause no, it doesn't mean you can't take action on another one, but you had already taken action on the first, so that has been ordered.
Dave, have you really taken a walk and looked down at the trailers down there?
Well, there's two of them under repair right now,
Yeah.
the short two.
Okay. I haven't taken a good look at them lately.
And one's sitting out the county shop, you know.
Okay.
I don't know what a second one is. No, they left town before 8 o'clock this morning with the trailer load, so.
Okay.
Save the hustling to get it done.
Okay. Well, I think it's something,
They make 2 trips today, maybe.
maybe something to look at, think about. Okay, next.
I guess I didn't get this in your packet, but I did, after last week, I did draft a change to the burning regulations resolution. And it's in paragraph E, if you want to take any action on it. So it would be on the second page, and it would just be that the sentence would be, in the event that the emergency management director exercises this authority, they shall notify Marion County Commission chairman as soon as it is practicable. If chairman is unavailable, the emergency management director shall notify the Marion County Commission vice chairman. So that was the change that the fire chiefs had asked for last week. If the commission wants to adopt a new resolution, that language is there. Otherwise, I don't, that's whatever you will want to do.
I think we discussed this somewhat, and I don't think we even need to have a personal phone call. I think an email would be fantastic, but
Email or text.
or text, yeah, one of the two, to all 5 commissioners, as far as I'm concerned, because we'd like to know if it's something's happening. Sometimes we don't know. Just like Kent said yesterday, there's a lot of fires up north. Now, I didn't see very many down south, but there was up north going on. So,
It was a good day.
there's just no reason, I can't understand, no reason why that it would be that much harder to notify all 5 of us that something's happening in our county. Whether maybe all our firemen are out on us, that may be the reason why he's doing that too, on burn bans or something, so.
The texting is the best way to communicate with everybody nowadays.
Okay,
So
Commissioner Giller.
would that change require a change to the resolution?
Not what you discussed, no.
So the by notification by phone, text, or email could be a consensus?
Yes.
Okay, could we get that in the minutes then as a consensus, if that's what the commission agreed?
Yeah, or even if you made a motion to that effect, you would not have to adopt a new resolution.
Right.
Yeah.
I would make the motion that the notification can be by phone, text, or email. That still go to all 5. So that keeps us informed in our
Do I
areas.
hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Commissioner Copeland, second. Tina, did you copy the motion that he?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, that will be sufficient, so we will not be adopting a new resolution then. Okay, thank you. Okay, that was all the administrative business that I have, except for the question that I brought up to you
I
this
have one
morning.
down here on the bottom, one more thing for administrative business. Just asking for a straw poll of, and Dave, I know this is Crowfoot, this is in relationship to Reno Dry that, or Reno Dry,
Renovation.
renovation, in relationship to the courthouse, whether we'd like for them to come in and do some work on us, or we've had a proposal. And I know that you took them over, and I don't know how you feel about it. That's why I just sort of felt everybody needs to discuss this, whether we want to go ahead with it, or.
It was a little high price for us right now. That's what we have, because we're not back to where we were 2 years ago, so.
Okay.
It's a budget and we can't afford to.
Okay. Any other commission comments on it?
Well, it just looks like we need to do a couple structural things that'll make a huge difference, especially those more steps.
More steps.
If we can make that improvement, that'll certainly go a long ways toward alleviating the moisture problem.
I would agree with that.
I'd rather put the money in that.
Right now, I'd rather do that. Okay.
I
That's-
think we'd be wiser to spend money right away on the north steps. Try to get that
Well,
fixed.
I think then that's general feelings that, as of right now, we're probably not gonna do this. We've got some structural issues on the steps on the north end. And I think you were trying to put out a proposal for them and stuff, so I think we're gonna stick with that if that's all right, Commissioner. Okay?
Okay.
So you might notify them when they call back.
Yeah, they're gonna call me this afternoon. They called this morning,
Okay.
so I just thought I would ask and see where you are with that and what your thoughts are. Okay, and that was all that I had.
Alrighty. Alright, first of all, I was coming in here the day after the meeting, but there was a commissioner by the name of Commissioner Becker that beat me to putting this on the agenda. So, Kent, you get the first comments about it.
Well,
Mask mandate.
I mean, I think the public knows at this point that we're still under the governor's mandate, which expires March 31st unless she extends it. But I have had a number of people that have asked me to either do away with the mask mandate or at least consider it. I think our positivity rate has been going down weekly. I know of our sister counties, Dickinson to the north and Harvey and Butler to the south, that have done away with their mask mandates. And so I just wanted to bring that to the commission to see what their thoughts were.
I will, when I read this, or when I was bringing it in, after I saw, I knew it was gonna be coming around, we were seeing so many counties do it and stuff, and so that's why I was coming in to put it on. But I will tell you, at the same time, last year, we're sitting over here in America, and we're saying, we'll never do that. Well, we've seen what it has done. And there was a country over there that was shut down then, that was Italy. And right now, they're shut down again. I hope it does not repeat. I mean, I'm not exactly in favor of the mask mandate, but I'm just saying, watch out. I think
Well, the second point is we've gone through this for a year. I think the general public knows what's going on. Businesses still have the right to require a mask. Public places, churches, they can require it. And you know, I think that's an option that they need to be given, and we need to hand it to them.
Commissioner Mueller?
Yes, I'd like to hear from our public health officer, Deidre. I think she's on.
Okay.
Deidre?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know, I don't know if anybody has seen the KSN blurb that they have on Governor Kelly, that she is probably going to reissue the order for face coverings, the 2068, and on the 1st. Now, that could change, obviously, but if she does reissue that order, that would remain in effect until it's either rescinded by the legislation, which now, due to Senate Bill 40, that can happen, or until the statewide state of disaster emergency expires. Just within our county, our rate has gone, our percent positivity, actually, we're now in the yellow, but I want you to be cautious because I don't feel like as many people are being tested. So if we even have one that is positive, our rate will go up. So I think there's a lot of things we need to look at, not just that positivity rate. And like Randy mentioned, masks have helped. We have a total of 1,024 cases so far. We don't know how long that immunity lasts, but as of now, we've had 1,288 persons complete their vaccine with Moderna and 102 boosters with Pfizer, and we've had 90 complete with Johnson & Johnson. That is a total of 1,480, so 1,480 individuals, and out of a population of about 11,884. That means 12% are vaccinated. However, a portion of these, we have to remember, they just completed that last week or the week before, and you aren't considered fully protected until 2 months or 2 weeks after your booster dose. So I don't know if you've been watching the news, but anywhere from 50 to 80% are said that needs to be vaccinated with the COVID vaccine to acquire herd immunity. So we're pretty far from that right now, just in Marion County and even the state of Kansas. We're getting there. I do realize the challenges that a mask mandate now can be challenged in court. So that's probably more where Brad can speak on. So I don't think that it's quite time to let our guard down. That's just my opinion. I think even if you don't, and the governor doesn't, I think we should still encourage people to wear masks. I do know that if you are meeting with people who have been vaccinated and they're that 2 weeks out, that masks are not, they say they aren't always recommended. But some of the schools, I was meeting with them, and I know they feel like if the counties or cities require masks or strongly recommend, that makes it easier for them to recommend that during school. I know Sedgwick County, I have talked over with the school that Sedgwick County has, like if they're in a low risk setting and everybody has their masks on, then they don't have to quarantine if they've been exposed. So that in itself kind of encourages mask wearing.
Okay. Anything else, Deidre?
I think that's about all I have, because I think y'all know kind of where I stand. I just don't feel like we have as many vaccinated to be fully protected to kind of let our guard down.
Well, yeah. That was, how many total in our county that's been vaccinated?
We have,
1,100.
well, we have that have completed their booster dose, 1,288 of Moderna, 102 of Pfizer, 99 Johnson & Johnson, for a total of 1,480, which is about 12%.
Okay. Okay, Commission. And you think that if it goes off the 31st, what Kent was saying, that we can't opt out then at that point? Even if she does re-up it, or the governor re-ups the
We should
first?
be able to.
Yes,
Sedgwick County opted out last week and then found out they were under the governor's order and they couldn't. But they plan, from what I read, to opt out as of March 31st.
If the governor doesn't reissue it.
No, they can opt out, the way I understand it.
Okay.
Well, there's no,
Then they're going, the city council, at least based on their vote from last week, would be opting out as of March 31st.
complication.
And I think it's, and Brad might be able to answer this a little bit better, but it's my understanding that you can opt out, but if you don't formally opt out, then you're automatically under the mandate. Is that the correct understanding?
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
I would, rather keep it on to help the local businesses, maintain masks. If we take it off and the store owner tries to tell people they gotta wear masks, they're gonna lose business. Because customers are gonna be mad at them, not at us. I think as a commission, to be leaders, we need to keep the mask mandate enforced, at least for another couple of weeks, to see what the state does. Because we can't get too much protection. I mean, we're about to get there, and
You can't do it for a couple of weeks. If you don't opt out, you're gonna be back under the governor's
Okay,
order
I suggest
until
we-
the expiration of
I
it.
just suggest we do not opt out then.
Commissioner Gary?
All right, I passed out this deal from Kansas Hospital Association, and it goes county by county based on their percentages of population of been infected. Well, those that got tested, and there's still all those unknowns. I got my own sheet here with a cheat sheet, but if I pass this around, it basically lays out all the counties that had a restriction with a mask order, a restriction with no mask requirement, mask order only, or no restriction period. And then when I'll just go ahead and pass this around. The one with X's is the restrictions with a mask order. The circles are adopted mask orders by cities. The squares are just a mask order only. And the two lines are restrictions but no mask requirement. And when I look around the whole state, there's no rhyme or reason to the population. I mean, some places that have mask ordinances are high, some places that don't have them are high. There's just no.
That's because there's no scientific proof that the masks have made a difference.
I'd say it's more because of variability, it's not because of that.
Well, there's some things. There's interstate traffic.
Right.
There is
There's other factors.
city versus urban versus rural.
Yep.
There is, but if you look across the map, there's high percentages in some of those places and low percentages in some of those places.
Yep.
And it just,
Well, there's no rhyme or reason.
the mask, I don't know that is contributing to one or the other.
Some put in their orders earlier, some put them in later. Some were enforced more stringently, some were not. There's just a lot of variables.
So, but why wouldn't we listen to our health department leadership? That's what we appointed them for, is to tell us what to do.
I agree, but this has got to back it up.
There is no scientific method. It's common sense.
We just make
The mask
Make
have
rules.
helped.
Well, if it's common sense, then it tells me that's the individual's responsibility, not somebody dictating it to them.
I guess,
I'd have to disagree on that.
I guess everybody's entitled to their
That's
own
where I got all
opinion.
that from. And this is,
I'm not gonna say.
I guess,
What? Who is that?
I guess
Deidre?
I would just maybe suggest, if you want it to be the individual's responsibility, they take on that responsibility. But if things increase, if cases increase, it's going to be much harder to reinitiate this than to continue it. That's just kind of my suggestion. I do know that masks, any time I feel like you can make statistics to what your argument is, and I think masks have shown, I mean, the incidence of flu, like just the normal flu, influenza A and B, they have gone down because of mask wearing. I think, if you talk to some of your schools, it didn't spread as easily as it could have because they were wearing masks within the classroom. I realize it is a tough decision, and I think it should be personal responsibility. So I think it does help. It is one simple thing we can do to prevent that steep incline of cases again.
and I wouldn't be against leaving the recommendation in play that we had prior. Because I think Deidre mentioned it, at the very least, we should keep that.
Yeah, that's the least, Then do I hear about March 31st, whether we drop out? I guess that would be the item that I would probably like to ask for a vote on.
No.
Yeah.
Clarity. Didn't you say we have to do this prior to March 31st?
Well, the way I understand it, you would opt out as of the deadline for the governors.
Yeah.
Now,
So
if
March
you're,
30th,
well,
that's when it expires.
was it 30th?
I thought it was
31st.
It's the-
But I may be wrong, but anyway, if you don't opt out and she extends it again, you'd be under that same order.
Right, okay.
So I believe the governor's order is in effect through the 31st, which I think is through
That's
the
what
end of the 31st.
Through the 31st.
And the press release that we received says that she will be reissuing the mask mandate effective April 1. The last time when she issued that mandate, we had 7 days to adopt something. But I don't know if that's the case now, and that's what Brad needs to answer. What the legality is and what you all need to do.
Well, just let me ask all you commission members, you're all out in the public, maybe some more than others. What percentage of people do you see actually wearing a mask?
When I go to the grocery store, I'd say 80% of the people in Marion.
I'm just asking out in the public. I'm not saying a specific business.
The rule is for when people are within 6 feet, so it's not every business.
Up and
Some
down the
businesses
street,
are
yeah.
able to distance. But in distances where they should be wearing a mask, I'd say it's at least 80%.
In the drugstore here in town, that's 95%. The banks all wear a mask.
So if we don't have an order, they're still gonna require it.
But the people are gonna say, I don't have to do it because the county doesn't require it.
No, the
No.
business, if the business requires it, they still have
Yeah,
to put it on.
it's like no shoes.
People will do that though.
It's like no shoes, no shirt, no service.
And the public is just bullheaded enough to not wear masks. We don't help the businesses enforce it, I feel.
Okay, we've had a little bit of discussion on both sides there. I guess there's no better way than to find out whether we're gonna do anything March 31st or not. I would just make a motion that we, no, wait a minute, I will not. I will ask for a motion.
Well, I mean, what are you guys thinking? We don't take a mask mandate off until we have herd immunity? If that's the case, you're looking at a year from now.
We don't take the mask mandate off until we get a recommendation from our public health officer.
Well, she just got through saying that in the end, it's individual responsibility.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are individual responsibility.
I would,
I mean, the speed limit's setting, you know, they got a speed limit, people don't follow that.
I would be more in favor of making sure that we don't tie our hands. So if a month from now, say the mask mandate stays in place, but a month from now we decide, or our health officer decides it's not needed.
Right.
We should have something in place so that we can opt out. If we can't do that,
If
then
we're
our
under the
hands are
governor-
tied until the governor decides.
Yeah, if the governor, if we stay under the governor's mandate, we go until the expiration.
Has anybody heard what she's thinking? November? Did I hear that?
I've heard June 30th. I don't know if that's in stone. That was something I read last week. I don't know. I think Marion City goes till June 30th, right?
I think so.
Hillsborough dropped their mandate. Hillsborough has their mandate. Didn't they drop theirs last week, didn't they?
Yeah, but they left a recommendation.
Well, right, but I mean the mandate.
Okay, so let's say we drop out March 31st, but yet we put a mandate on to stay under till the health department releases us for a mask mandate. How would we go about that?
You have to have your own mandate set by the county.
Okay. That one would be, we could release instead of the governor. The way I'm looking at
Be
it.
by resolution, I would guess, right?
So, we have some options. I will tell you that I work for a company that's going with CDC. And they're sticking with it, they're not changing. We will be under the mask as long as CDC says so, for our company.
You guys move back to 3 feet then, rather than 6?
No, I think we're still saying 6, I think, but.
Yeah, that really hadn't been changed yet. They recommended that for schools. It's a recommendation.
So, I just, what I'm thinking though is our company's saying, you know, we deal with the public and we're doing it not only to protect our employees, but we're trying to protect our passing and stuff like that with this. So that's why I backed out of saying that I wouldn't make the motion, because if I made the motion, somebody would feel I have to vote that away. So that's why I backed out. And I will just tell you honestly that that's why that I didn't do that, why I didn't go ahead and make a motion. But I would accept the motion if somebody feels that way.
Well, we don't have to act until Wednesday if you want to think about it.
Brad coming back in.
I don't know.
He left his stuff here.
He's on the phone.
He's on his telephone.
I mean, we'll be back on Wednesday if everybody wants to think about it.
Well, that's Wednesday morning. We'll be here for payday, won't we? All right.
How about, can we just table it for 15 minutes until council?
Yeah, until council comes back in. We can do that. Just table till Brad comes back in and gives us advice here. I can go with that.
I agree with Jonah. I don't, there's a few questions in my mind about getting blocked into something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just leave it.
I just wanted the confidence to know it's not.
All right.
See, it's worth it.
Mr. Brad, when you left, it got hot in here, temperature-wise. So, the question though has been referred back to you is whether, explain to us if we did something March 31st, that we could put our own mask mandate on and have our own, and then drop out whenever we feel that, when we voted to knock it off. Can we do that?
As long as it is not less stringent or strident than that which, if the governor, and we've got a couple of ifs here,
Okay.
if it's renewed, it does, as I read it, reopen the possibility for us to do that opt-out, which is what was being discussed earlier.
Yes.
And then if you did do the opt-out, and then said, but we do want to have something in place, so we'll do the following. It still falls under that general category like statutory enforcement, that if you do something, you could make it more strict, but you can't make it less. Does that make sense?
Than the mandate from the government, who's supposedly up here above us.
But
But if you opt out and do your own,
It's an interesting
2
question.
weeks later, you can do away with it.
Yes.
Where if you stay under the governor's order, you go
That's
to
correct.
expiration.
That's correct. It gives you that flexibility, if that makes sense, to, you've opted out. And then if you go ahead and make it a local, by definition, then you're, as I read it, and I think the way it's generally been observed, you have the ability, that's if we made it local, and even if it was identical, just, you have the power then, because of the way you did it, I think, to adjust.
we can opt out and then go along. We still opt out at that point. I just want to make sure we can drop out. We're ready to drop out.
That would be what
That
you would
would
be
be
doing.
our own local. mandate.
The problem with the local though is, just what Dietrich you said, is that there are getting lawsuits right now on mass mandating.
And also,
We're leaving ourselves liable rather than letting the governor be liable.
well, we also have one community that's already opted out of their own.
Right.
So if we reinstituted the mandate, they'd fall under.
Right.
Evidently, that's not what the city fathers in Hillsborough have said.
By that, you mean they don't agree that they would then be under it?
No, they know that they would be under it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they've opted out. If we
Mhm.
put our own, made a resolution on our own mandate,
Mhm.
they'd fall right into that.
Because it's, we've debated that in terms of home rule and generally the county has that power.
I guess, just based on the information that passed around for me, I would make a motion that we opt out. Just because I can't see the mask is making one way or the other.
I'd second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Gearing to opt out of the state mandate, governor's mandate. I have a second by Commissioner Becker.
He has a March
As
31st
of
at
March
midnight,
31st.
I'll agree.
12:01.
That,
Could you just, clearly state what your motion is, please?
Make a motion to opt out of the governor's mask mandate effective March 31st at midnight.
okay, we got a second from Becker, Commissioner Becker.
Yes, second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Gearing, a second by Commissioner Becker. Any other further discussion before I ask for a vote? I will ask by each name and for each commissioner to vote on this issue. Do I hear any more discussion? Commissioner Dalkey? Nay. Commissioner Gearing?
Yay.
Commissioner Becker?
Yay.
Commissioner Crowfoot?
Nay.
Commissioner Mueller?
No.
3 noes, 2 yays. It did not pass. So, I'd like for all the other noes to know that we're gonna stay under commissioner, or the governor's mandate. Okay.
So So if the new mandate is issued.
If it's issued,
On
yes.
April 1st, then it would give you I think the last one gave guidance as far as how long you had to make it a local, if you wanted to make something local.
That's
So-
my understanding, that's what they anticipate seeing.
So,
Okay, as of today, we've said nay, but I'd like to put it back on Wednesday again, morning, or what was it, afternoon, independent.
no, we're meeting at 9 on Wednesday.
In case anybody changed their mind. Does anybody have any problem with that?
Do you want to wait till April, so let's see what the governor does? First meeting in April instead?
And there may be a possibility, depending on what the
I know which
language
one.
is, that you may want to have a special meeting on the 1st.
Okay.
It depends on how they restrain us.
I would definitely be in favor of waiting until we know.
To the first
Okay.
Monday of April?
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna go clear to November,
Yeah, you might as well wait till first meeting in May, or April.
would we have that 7 days, you think, then?
We don't know
Yeah.
if they followed last time.
Just keep us posted.
Okay.
I can come in at the drop of a hat, so, for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, I'd really like to know what she's gonna do.
So would the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, just a statement.
Just stay, sure. Okay. So, okay, moving on. Treasurer Janine Bateman, Department of Business.
Hi there.
Hi, Janine.
Yes. I'm used to coming in and saying good morning, and I've lost my,
It's all right, we've all did it once or twice already, so maybe even 3 times.
well, I thought today I'd talk to you about the escrow program. The payment program has tax holding program, it has multiple names, but in Marion County we offer, well, actually 3 types of payments. People can make monthly payments, they can pay with a coupon, or we can do an automatic withdrawal from their account, or we even have some people that don't want to bother with getting a check sent in for the due date, so we'll make a pull on the due date of taxes and pay their taxes for them. So it's just a service we offer. I did some quick figuring, and right now we have 600 properties in the tax holding, and some of those are people trying to catch up back years. Some of them are people paying on the current year, and some of them are people paying ahead. So we have, like I said, 600 properties, 441 individuals or businesses. Some businesses like to do that because it's one thing they can budget, because business flows are up and down. So we have 25 county employees that use a payroll deduction. We have 313 properties that are being paid through the ACH or the automatic withdrawal. 20 or so properties that are paid on the due date. And it's pretty simple. There's forms out on the website. You just go out and fill them out. Whether you want to do the monthly payment with a coupon, or if you want to have the ACH. Right now we pay, there is no charge for the taxpayers. So it's just kind of something that I hadn't brought up for a while. It seems to be working very well. Even in the worst times, I think we stayed right around a 3% delinquency, just because we could give people options.
Do other counties charge any?
Some counties do. But at the point in time we set it up, that was when the interest was high, and we thought, well,
You're more than 5 years into it though, now, aren't you?
oh yes.
I mean, there's a lot of bookkeeping.
We do have a program that helps.
I mean, like insurance companies will charge you $1 or $2 a month when you make monthly payments.
Yeah.
It's for the record keeping, and
Mhm.
you mail a receipt back every month to them.
And at the point in time we started it, we were trying to help mainly people that were
Yeah.
behind the catching up.
And you mail back a receipt every month.
Usually, yes.
Actually, that's, cost you $2 right there to do that.
Mhm. And maybe we could,
I mean, it's a good service, but it's costing.
Could you email the receipt back?
we could email, or we could just ask them if, at the point in time they set up, if they want a monthly receipt.
Go online, no.
Because we do try and collect their email address and their phone number, so we have a way to contact them.
Suggest that's something to look into, because, you know, I think I only write one check a month now. Everything else is online. I get receipts back and notifications.
It'd be kind of nice to see a fee schedule from a county or two that does charge.
With postage have gone up so
I
much.
think,
too.
I think Smith County is the only county that I know for sure that charges. But I can see what their charge is.
You know, it may not be worth the effort, but it'd be kind of nice to see. You could kind of get an idea of what your revenue would be based on your number of counts.
One thing I really like is the options, because a lot of people are going, like Dave said, everything online. If you can set it up automatic, you know what it is, you can budget for it. But if you could communicate by email, that would help. But really the gain on reducing delinquencies is the best payoff.
Yeah,
If you can prevent someone from falling behind where they can't catch up.
Make it easy for them.
Well, like I said, a number of them are delinquent ones to begin with that set it up.
but now we're mostly to people paying in the current year or paying it now.
So it's had success.
It's had success. It's helped. And when we have somebody come in with a delinquent property, we try to make sure that they get it paid off in a year, so they don't continue to fall behind, because it gets to be hopeless, so.
It's hard to get caught up when you get behind.
I just almost want to cry when people have worked so hard to get themselves caught up. I mean, it's such an accomplishment, so. Sorry.
Well,
A softie.
thank you for doing it, but I sort of heard that, and I sort of wonder, if it's not worth something to the county to have a charge. Because there's 400 of them, you said 400 some people.
Mhm.
And that's, I would not be against folks putting a charge for doing it.
To put it better in the mail, you got a $2 investment to labor. I think postage is 55 cents now, or 50 cents. I don't know what it is or more.
55.
It'd be neat to bring something back, like Ken said, I think. See what it looks like. What else do you have, Janine?
Okay, well, in March, we had our March distribution, and we paid out about 1.9 million. It was over $1.9 million. We also did the neighborhood revitalization. There was like 90 checks for around $115,000 that we paid back to the.
It's a good deal.
And course, March, B tags are due, so.
Oh, I was in today.
I have my bright orange sticker on my red car. We took personal property warrants to the sheriff, and there were like 206 of those, which is kind of median. And if you're ever in the office, have us run the cash counter. That's totally awesome. You put your cash in, you push the button, you get a printout of how many of what bills you have, so.
We'll source the bills too.
Cool.
So, it's been a good purchase, so. That's about all.
On the neighborhood revitalization, and I know it's probably my last year in that one house that I have, I received a check for $4 and something. And I'm just saying, you know, we didn't know about it when the program, but for them to make a $4 check for a tax deal, there should have been a minimum on it, anything under 25 or something like that, I don't know. But that neighborhood revitalization needs to be looked at again, I think. Somewhere this year we need to do that.
Yeah, we could set up a minimum.
Yeah, or take a look at whether we want to keep it in the county. That's something that's, you know, whether we do or don't.
We have a lot of people that, okay, this building will pay off, so then they'll go ahead and build another. So we have some people that are just continually
Yeah.
updating, so.
And that may be something that I don't know the facts on what's going on, but the original reason was whether you build in Marion County or whether you build in Harvey County, Marion, or first or someplace else. That was what it was trying to convince them people to build in. But now you're saying something that you have one house, as soon as that neighborhood revitalization goes off, you want to build something else, you can build. You know, I haven't heard of that, so that's.
It's not unusual. The people that we have in it
Already in it, yeah.
will continue
Okay.
adding things.
That's a fact that I haven't
Figure
heard.
out the system.
Well, thank you, Janine.
Like I say, stop by and we'll count all the change you have in your wallet, all the cash. Go ahead. I'll get out.
EMS, Travis Parman.
Good afternoon.
Pull the chair back up there. Pull it back up there beside Travis.
There you go.
I gotta sit by him.
Yeah, you gotta set by him. That's the rules.
So, email came out Friday. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at that. Commissioner Dalkey, did you? I have a hard copy if anybody wants that. Or,
Yeah, I've got it here. I just have, my
Okay.
computer's set right here over me.
oh, that's fine.
You got it.
But I looked at it.
Do what?
It's all in our packet.
Okay,
It's in our
so
packet, yeah.
questions, comments, concerns, anything where we're at, if we want to move forward, Cody here to answer any questions that if something popped up in there, we'd be happy to.
So you're gonna need the sprinkler system.
Correct.
Those go as involved.
The code, the way they have it,
Okay.
the way they figured it, or what's the word, the way they categorized it.
Right,
as a
category for the code, puts it in a,
R2.
no, it's 13, it has to be a 13D system, which is a residential type system. It's the cheaper of the systems, so that's a good thing for us. We did budget for that as well, and
I see you had it in there.
yes, that is included in that price, as well as we're in question with grades, where we're going to be able to tie in the sewer. It may require a lift station, which we have budgeted as well. Until we get some people involved and commit to paying them something as far as design's concerned, we can research that a little bit better and get that nailed down. There is a good chance, just as good a chance, that we won't need it as well. But I did go ahead and include it so that cost is covered. in the chance that we do, since I've got a cost nailed down for it.
Is that due to distance from the sewer
Yes,
main?
sir. Distance and locations of the sewers. There's actually a sewer main in the, what is that street?
Middle of
Ash Street, middle of Ash Street there, that we could potentially, easy enough time, but it's deep. And you have to close down the entire street and cut pavement, and the city wasn't really in favor of that, which I can understand because it's a big cost for them. Otherwise, we can go to the north to 3rd Street, south to 3rd Street, or even back to the north potentially as well. We're just a little bit questionable. Roughly figuring we think we can get to 3rd Street. But it's all
Deep it is, I guess.
right.
And that's
If it checks out to be as deep as what they say it is, I think we can get to 3rd Street without a lift station. But
We haven't committed the finances to take surveyors and get a
Right.
site plan ready.
yeah, until we
to
can
know.
commit to spending
where
some
we're at.
money, we really can't figure that out yet.
You know, probably won't know till you dig the hole in the street. You know.
Well,
Well, we know once we get,
Right.
isn't that part of the, isn't that part of the utilities?
it is.
Okay.
And they've agreed to get the sewer pipe within 5 feet of the
Okay.
site. And really, it's gonna take some math on their end to figure out which is better for them,
Okay.
if we go out to ash or not. But we can't see where we need to be on grade without being surveyed to see how much depth we have to get to that,
Right, and
that south one.
And that all, the building pad, final building pad elevation comes into consideration there too. And it'll only help us out, because we're guesstimating somewhere in the 6 to 12 inches above curb height, right there on Ash Street's where we're gonna land that,
And
so.
24 inches coming out of the building and shoot it down there. But yes, they're gonna get it to us. It's just which way's better for them. And, again, it could include a lift pump for us. We just don't know that until we commit to putting something to it as far as surveying.
And if we don't need it, I've got that budgeted at $6,000, like it says in the proposal. That goes right back into your guys' hands, so.
Should probably stay in contingency.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, yes.
Any other questions? I'm hearing no other questions. I have some discussion. I'm gonna drop back to a year ago. A year ago, we could have built a building and put it at the most $200,000. And we had a building big enough at that time to put rooms in, sleeping quarters, remodel it. I think we could have done it less than $200,000, but anyway, we could have done it somewhere around there and put a shed up for the ambulance trucks. We have doubled and over doubled at $480,000. I even made a motion for $225,000, I think, what my motion was. I'd like this commission to consider that I've got a whole county, in my county down here, paying for the same thing. There's a whole half of the county up north paying for this, paying tax dollars on this. I strongly recommend that you look at this and think, are we going to treat everybody equal somewhere down the road? I think that we've spent a lot of money here, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm still getting 30-minute service to Peabody, 25-minute service to Peabody, if my crew down there is not on, or to Tampa, 20 to 25 minutes. So, this is what we've done. I'm not real proud. I'll be proud of the building, and I'll be proud, it's gonna be a good thing. But yet on my tax dollars, did I do the best that I could possibly do for the county of Marion? And I don't think I've done that. So, it's just one of them deals. We did it out here for $200,000, under $200,000. Now we've got an air conditioner this year that's gonna come back in, heating system. But sure, it's and we hear about the Taj Mahal of another department over there. Did we get the Taj Mahal here, or did we get the main thing, which we tried keeping it down, and it still cost us this $480,000. So I just love a commitment by this commission to treat both halves of the county, north and south, because we're taking care of the middle with 2 ambulances within 10 miles, and the rest of us have to wait. Someday our volunteers may not be here. I know that for a fact. It's already happened in the middle. It's going to happen on our north and south end someday. So, like I said, I'm just putting out the way I feel, and I'll probably vote maybe for it. I don't know. But this kind of money, and when I look back what we could have done and could already be in, we might not have as big a bay and stuff like that for the ambulances. So, are we sure that we want to go right ahead with this, even though we've committed to the ground and stuff like that? I'm thinking we could build it something else. I don't know. So that's my 2 cents worth. I'm very adamant about it because I set out to build this ambulance service up. And when you sat here as a commissioner and the state says you better do something, that's why I set out to build an ambulance service in this county. And wanted the top-notch service, and we've done that. But how far do we go? That's the end of my discussion, or from my feelings. Dave, Commissioner Meeting.
Right, and obviously the county has made great strides. I would just encourage us to look to the future. I mean, there was an opportunity that was missed. It's passed. We have to look at options that are on the table now. We're in a position, something has to be done. For me, between location, looking at the future, increasing, or I should say decreasing response times, improving service, it's something that has to be done. So in my position, I'm looking at what are our options available now. That would be my...
How do you look to the future then?
Well, that's just it. The location, future needs. I think our department heads put together a good plan that will carry us into the future, not just 5 years, and then have to do something new again. Part of the discussion we have had in this room over the last couple of months has been old building versus new building. Okay, you go into a 30-year-old building, what are going to be your future needs for improvements, repairs, concrete, roof, heating, cooling, and then is it designed to provide the best needs in the future for this use? So that's where again I come back to this being a long, yes, it's more expensive than what could have been done 2 years ago. That's passed. Now looking to the future for our end of the county, your end of the county as a whole, I think it's going to, you'll look back in a few years and decide it was a good decision. I feel.
Well, and also potentially, we may do something in Peabody.
Yeah, you know, right now we've got a volunteer service, and I'm just looking to the future. I'm just seeing what's happening with volunteers, and our leader does have a plan somewhat, and I hope it works out because that's the goal for me is to treat, as you remember right on the board right over here the other day, to treat everybody equal, and that's my goal. Is when I sit in this chair, is to treat everybody equal. So I just had to let it out. I wasn't going to hold it no more, and I just want everybody to know that's how I feel. So thank you for the time for doing this. Appreciate your thoughts, Dave.
Can I
Yeah.
jump in? And I feel most of that was directed at the other commission. And I mean, I respect the information you had. You know, I worked hard
Yes.
at the beginning to try and do this the most financially responsible way I knew.
Yeah.
You hired me as an expert. I spent 15 years living in a fire EMS station. I'm not building a Taj Mahal. This is what we need. It is spec'd in there with an expandable wall on the north end. I don't think we'll ever need it. But is that good planning to have something there? Again, it's a cost that I don't know that I need. I don't feel that we went over the top, but absolutely, the price of things go up. We look at more concrete, we look at everything. As far as what we're doing for the county, I had a tough conversation with some residents in Florence about what's going on with my service, their town.
Right.
As numbers dwindle, a couple things happen. Volunteers dwindle, but you also dwindle the number of times an ambulance is needed in that community. So you gotta look, again, at the populous areas, that's where our call volume is.
Yeah.
And I'm not discrediting any part of the county. It's just, if those are the numbers I have, that's where I have to do it. I mean, that's really what I have to do. And I'm trying to create a professional service. And this is one step towards it. I absolutely understand what you're talking about financial side, because we tried a couple different things.
Yeah.
This, I don't believe it has a lot of fluff in it. It has what's gonna work for us. So that's, not that I felt that was directed at me, Commissioner Galkey, but I did wanna throw that out there, that I feel I'm being the most financially responsible I can as far as a new building goes.
That's good.
So,
That's good. With that being said, any other questions on the contract that's been laid out in front of us from National Falls?
I'd like to just make some comments on how I see this unfolding. You know, should you guys approve this proposal today, I would see it as taking a week, and I would put the details of the contract together for you guys to review one last time and sign off on, and then take another week to finalize that. So it's not like we've got this is just a draft sample contract, doesn't have the details or anything in it, so FYI.
I refer my questions to Jonah Gehring, because as he looked it over, he does this for a living every day and look at things. How do you feel?
I think he's on the right track. You know, it's like you said, he can fill in a few details. Not terribly a lot. I mean, you could probably get some more detail on the scope. As far as I feel, it's pretty standard. I've never looked at it from the ownership side of things. I've always looked at it from the tier down from him. So, but yeah, we got a good local contractor.
With that being said, then, anybody else have any final comments?
Well, Randy, I empathize with what you're saying. And you know, if we were empire builders and not trying to be conscious with the use of taxpayers' funds, you know, it's easy to look back a couple of years and say, oh man, we could have saved $100 grand, and we probably could have. But you know, the world that we live in right now is, I mean, putting up physical structures is just, that's gone out of sight.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can't stop and say, well, we can't do it because, you know, it's just way too expensive when we're trying to enhance the service. And we made a commitment to that when we got a hold of the building in Marion and tried to upgrade that to meet the specifications that were needed for the service here. But you know, I live way out in the county too, so I feel the same way you do. You know, I might call an ambulance tonight, and I don't know how long it'd take to get there to me.
I think I'm just trying to, you know, everybody's got a comment on how we got to this point, whatever. Everybody knows how I feel about new buildings versus old buildings. It's long-term versus short-term, nickel and dime, yada, yada, yada. As far as the contract goes, I think we need to move forward. Let's keep going forward on what we're doing here. And that's my opinion.
Good. Everybody in agreement, Dave? I haven't
Yes.
heard much from you, Dave.
I'm agreeing with it.
Okay.
I think with Cody being local, I think he'll treat us right, because he's gonna have to live here.
You bet.
He's not gonna
I
go
mean,
back
I
to
feel-
Texas or anything like that.
Yeah, this contract's pretty black and white, and I think that's very fair for you guys, so you guys can see how the costs are add up, there's nothing to hide there.
If we have a question, we know where he works or where he lives.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure where you live, but I know.
Somebody will know.
Yes, we can find out quickly.
So you'd just like to have a vote right now to move forward, is that what you're asking for?
Yep, and then I'll put the contract details together in the sample that I provided.
Okay.
We'll present that next commission meeting, then you guys can have another week to review that and sign it, or you could sign it that day if you're comfortable with it.
If we get it out early enough to them.
Yes, sir.
What's the timeline to build it once you get started?
So approximately right now, it could go quicker, but I kind of feel like 30 to 45 days to run all the traps with design, get everything nailed down there, and then be ready to order a building. A building takes anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks right now from approved shop drawings. And then we would be shooting to get all the dirt work and foundations and everything in place so that when the building shows up, we can start putting it up. And from the time that it shows up, it'll be approximately 60 days to finish up the project.
If we was to walk in by the first frost, that'd be pushing it probably.
It'd be pretty close. You're not far off right there. Travis and I were kind of putting the timeline. We were thinking about, sometime around in October, November timeframe. That's what we were shooting for.
Before the weather gets bad.
Yes, sir.
Depending on the year.
Yeah, October and November can be pretty bad.
Just for a couple of days.
With that being said, then I would make the motion to move ahead to have Cody Nelson be the, you probably said architect or project?
Design builder
Design
would be the
builder.
technical term.
For the ambulance building in Hillsborough,
Take care of
Kansas.
it.
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Dave Crowfoot. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. 5-0, unanimous.
So how's the land acquisition or whatever?
Have they been with you yet, Brad? Okay. They have got it plotted out, staked out. It's there. They're getting a legal description, and then it's gonna be their attorney, our attorney, working out the sale of the $1 the property, which, I was concerned maybe holding things up, but I was assured that it's not gonna be an issue. It's just waiting on the wheels of the legal side of it to make it happen, so.
I do need the commission to answer a question about the payment performance bond. That's listed that it'll be about $8,200 and it'll add that to the cost. So just verifying that you do want one.
Yes. I won't vote for that.
Okay, payment performance bond. Put that motion on that, is what you're asking?
No, I just wanted
Just
to
have it
know.
included.
It's acknowledged.
That is acknowledged, it will be on there.
Okay,
I didn't hear no names against that.
okay. I think that was something that needed to be addressed.
Totally trust Cody, but,
I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, don't go there.
All righty, Cody and Travis, thank you for what you've done.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I do have a comment on the chat from Lou Thurston. Do you want that down or during public comments?
I think it fits this, doesn't it?
As long as-
Yeah, it's just a matter if you
Okay.
all are okay with me.
No, go ahead.
Okay, it says the city of Hillsborough is committed to do what it takes to support Travis and this project. We appreciate the support of all involved.
Okay, thank you, Lou.
Okay. Anything else for me? Thank you for your support, and
Thank you,
we'll
guys.
keep moving forward. All right.
See, you got your new vehicle.
Yep, we're gonna
Get some
get,
decals on that car. 'cause I
I've
want
I've made the phone call. I've gotta get down there and make some arrangements for some measuring, but yes, it's in the works to get it lettered and
What do you
get
do
everything
there?
done.
Thanks,
Right,
guys.
up to so-
So loans,
Do what?
loans.
Innovative down at Hutch, so. All right. Thank you.
Hey, you guys sitting beside me. County Councilor Brad Dennis, it's your turn. Lead us through whatever you have.
Couple of items today.
Okay.
Dave could probably respond, you had sent me an email. That document is ready to go on the boat dock, but I didn't get anything from Isaac or anyone yet. Was I supposed to? On the full listing of what was inventoried or what was.
He didn't send you pictures and stuff, and how many of these?
I just checked again. I thought, well, maybe I missed it
We
somewhere.
were supposed to send it last week.
I will double check again now and see if it went into something else, but normally it's set up to go directly into a particular file.
Yes, Commissioner Gearing, you got something?
I know we should have approved this earlier on the agenda, but he wasn't here. Mike has sat here through the whole thing. Do you think we could do a public comment? Is that what you're here? Or are you just here? I just want to make sure you don't get kicked out for an executive when the public comment comes right next, so.
Yeah, okay, that's what you're saying. If we go into executive, we'll do a public comment, this is the last one. Last item. Hey, second part.
Figured out which one to play.
No, I don't know which one he's gonna play. That's why I'm trying to get ahead of him.
But anyway, no, I'm still not
Okay,
seeing
I just
anything.
text him, see if he can.
It's, that's all I need. I would like to get it back to them so that they can review it.
They might go tomorrow.
Yeah, if we could get that, that would be helpful.
I think it's trying out today.
Plans to go to the one
Second item, I guess I would like to have a little bit of discussion and a little bit further guidance on the private repair on public property, on a resolution we talked about several weeks ago, as to whether we want in each instance that a application be provided by the property owner or whomever is doing this repair on public property, or if there's a cost limitation under which you don't want to concern yourself with it if they're just doing something very small and minor. If there are elements of it that we absolutely never, I talked with Bryce the one day about, we had the one already where we had that issue.
You're talking about road issues now?
Yes.
Okay.
Instances where we just absolutely never want the private property owner to be involved.
Okay. We have a property owner sitting right here that gets on the road with the road grader, and that's the question at hand, whether it be a road grader, whether it be a tractor, whether it be whatever, going down our roads, that is the question at hand for the commission to answer. So we've had, here in the last 2 months, we've had from this side of Ugly to, we know some people do this side of Purdy, and take care of what they do. But I think the commission maybe is, Commissioner York, go ahead.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt
Yeah,
your
sorry.
thought, but when we got to it, this isn't something new. There's got to be other counties that have a policy in place. I mean, we're not inventing the wheel here.
Right.
I mean, are there some other counties that we
Yeah, there
we
are.
can steal from?
They run the things that I just asked about, they run the spectrum on those.
Okay, so
and
there's it depends on where the commission wants to
Yeah.
go from.
Yeah, it's that kind of guidance in terms of what control you want to have. If you want to make it really simple,
Mhm.
every time, we can try to make sure that that's fully publicized. Every time that a private property owner wants to do anything, if it's $10 worth,
Mhm.
that a permit is required so that you know exactly what's being done and where.
Mhm.
That's that end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, you have those that are like, if they have kind of a listing of general construction or construction kinds of projects that they don't mind if they go in and do. And I think they probably derive those from experience.
Mhm.
I could check with Bryce as to what he thinks would work there. And some have a cost factor, because they're figuring, well, if it's that small an item, don't want to make them come clear to the courthouse, fill out an application, go through that process, wait on everybody, when all they're looking to do is go in and dump some rock in a couple of holes.
Okay. The question that really comes up is lawsuits. And that's, okay, well, this person over here may say that he has $2 million worth of insurance, but that don't stop the lawsuit, the person that hit that motor grader out there on the road, that don't stop them from suing both him and the county. Just because that person has insurance, that don't stop that. So that's where insurance liability becomes a big thing for us.
And that's on another one on the same list. I went ahead, made some inquiry in terms of our carrier. And, yeah, that was expressed as a concern. Well, you know, exactly what do you want? Do you want to put a rider in place that allows for this, since you're contemplating allowing them to do that? Are you going to require them to provide any kind of insurance? You know, you'll get to a point very quickly where someone's going to be like, all I wanted to do was $350 worth of repair on a shoulder by the road to my house. You know, it's turning into an act of Congress. And so, I made a few phone calls, and you get this all across the board in different counties, particularly the more rural ones.
All one guy wanted to do was move a culvert down 100
Yeah.
feet, and that really had no effective cost, except for some dirt piled over the top that made somebody ramp off the right side.
It extended clear out the road
Yeah.
and would cause a driving effect.
Yeah, there was literally no cost to that.
And they left it so that the person would hit it. That was a comment.
It was a hazard.
That was brought to us in the picture, yes.
And that was part of a discussion in terms of our carrier, like, okay, if they install something and they, in good faith, think that they've done it, you know, with sufficient quality, but something about it, they didn't really anticipate because they don't do it every day. And you have a third party who's traveling on a public road, our road, and they, you know, end up with, you know, your ball joints and everything else on the front end of that thing, steering gear torn up, so you got $2-3 grand in a vehicle that's damaged. Well, they're going to come to us.
Well, the other day, after the meeting, I think, what day did it rain right after the meeting? Either Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know which it was.
Tuesday.
Raining. I stopped in and visited with 3 motor grader operators and asked each one of them how many people they have in their area that does somewhat the same thing, get out with their own equipment, and every one of them had at least 3 or 4 in their areas that they knew of, that whether it's tractor or blade, but they usually take care of their area concerning what you just said, Brad, going to their house. And so I can see that, and I know it happens in down there, and I know it happens up here because I've heard conversation about it. But that's what's going on in our county. It's not just one. It's all over our county, from south to clear to north end. So I don't know how to handle it, guys. I mean, that's why we're talking about it. So.
And the part that does make it extremely difficult is some people do actually improve.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
others seriously destroy the roof.
We've seen pictures of both.
Yeah.
And the problem is the person that hurts the roof is the one that gets us in trouble.
Yes.
Right.
And they have, it could be just one.
Right.
But it's the one you don't want. You know what I mean?
And it can, you know, it can also, they gave me several examples, it can be something that is very minor. That they're not doing a whole lot, but they end up leaving some type of a track issue that someone ends up rolling into, rolls a vehicle, heaven forbid. So there's not a perfect answer to that.
Well, I don't think permitting is the answer, because that has nothing to do with liability. Something would have to be tied to a liability.
Well,
What you can do, and that's a good question or a good comment, with the permitting gets into that issue of, okay, how do we want to cover that liability? We want to either make sure that our carrier is well aware that these things are being done and has given us the right rider for it, such as they are, or that you're going to go ahead and do some type of a coverage requirement by the individual, you know, that who's doing the work, and that's going to be tough.
Like, I mean, even if we approve it and say, yeah, it's up to par or whatever, just like you said, somebody else gets out there and they do work and they carry $1 million of insurance, we still get named.
Right.
Still,
You're always going to get named.
why shouldn't we at least have a permit so we have the final say if we're gonna get named anyway?
You know, a lot of rural counties in the same boat that we do. You know, they're undermanned, under equipment or whatever, and we know that. I mean, I've been out in western Kansas and seen the oil field equipment on the road, not just on their path, but out in the road.
And in making a few of those phone calls, what became a prevalent answer was, gee, that's a pretty good idea. Let us know when you get one done.
Well, you set precedent.
Yeah. So clearly, it's the same sort of thing that we haven't thought about that either. So I got a lot of them, particularly more rural ones, and that kind of thing. So.
And it makes a difference on the amount of traffic. I mean, we've got a couple in our area, I mean, it's just one house. And they maintain that road to their house, and
They tell the maintainer to stay away.
maintainer stays
Yeah.
off, and it is, there's no heavy traffic on it.
And if you don't have any business being out there, they'll tell you to get right on.
That's true too.
Yeah, but.
I think I know who you're talking about.
But then you switch that up into a highly traveled road, and you increase your risk.
Right.
And so how do you
That's
turn
the
that
challenge.
into policy?
That's my, when I'm sitting and looking at it, I mean, I can do it either, those, again, if I use those as kind of your
Right,
ends of the spectrum.
right.
How close do we want to get to either one of them? How user-friendly do we want this to be? Because the more user-friendly we make it, the more liability we potentially have.
I think we have an engineer, and that's kind of the point of having an engineer, is having things up to par, up to snuff, and to have everybody understand that that's the final say on the road. And once that's understood, the hard feelings can go away. They know that they have to.
It's similar to in the cities, in municipal jurisdictions.
Yeah.
They will allow installation of different types of piping or different, whatever it may be, infrastructure.
You can do your own electrical.
Yeah, but they
You still have to have a permit.
Yeah, that's right. And they have to leave it open in a lot of those cases until at least, city staff, in this case, county staff, had a chance to go look at it and say, okay, we can live with that.
And all that does is, that's a different topic.
So, yeah.
Do I hear a conclusion?
It's,
Nice conversation.
Well, usually someplace in the middle makes a little more logic, I don't know, but, I hate to be, not allow anyone to do anything, but yet you can't allow everyone to do whatever they want.
everything, yeah.
That is quite a distance from here to over to here, isn't it?
Right,
Yeah.
I see, I
Yeah.
understand but you.
Well, the
lose-
widest road's about 30 feet, so it's a 30-foot decision.
30 foot.
Yeah. that is
Or 60-foot right of way.
It's on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I would ask is you keep working with Rice to come up with a proposal that then we could.
I kind of wanted to raise this.
Sure. Yeah.
And then recognizing probably there's no simple answer to it.
Right.
And I'll try to put something together for next week for initial review.
But that would include our roads, culverts, and then cattle guards. Those are kind of the big three, right?
Yeah. It actually it has a whole lot more than that.
Haven't
But
got,
yeah,
haven't got the bridges yet?
Yeah, I mean, bridges. I don't think anyone's gonna build a bridge.
I don't think anybody's touching the bridge.
Well, I think we all realize what it is, and I just hope that every homeowner realizes we're just trying to be wise when somebody, there's always an idiot that's gonna, we've had our street sweepers hit, we've had our trucks hit, and they've had lights on them, and so we know that just, it's gonna happen somewhere someday, maybe not in Marion County.
And it protects them too.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you have a misstep, kind of like that bump in the road, right? Who lives near that bump in the road? Who are they gonna walk up to? Whose house are they gonna go to after they roll their vehicle and luckily walk away from it? But who are they gonna go inconvenience, right? Or it's for their benefit too.
Snake homes, everybody sees them. Snake homes, everybody sees them.
Brad, throw us something out here, throw us a bone out here so we can look at it.
Well, we used to do it.
See what can happen with that.
Get a buggy to pull
Sounds
it
good.
out.
I gotta get them before it gets daylight, for folks to see this.
Next item.
The last item that I have for today is an executive.
Executive.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we have an executive for the last item for the day. I will move public comments on up, and take care of public comments before we go into this last item. So, if there's anybody online, we'll take them first. Don't see anything popping up, John?
I don't see anybody that would have public comment.
No,
Okay.
nothing in chat, and nobody has their microphone turned on.
Okay. So, next we'll do people in the building, which we have one person in our meeting room today, Mike Genicke. And Mike, if you want a public comment, just go right ahead. You might try to get over by the mic over there so the public can hear you. Make you move, but
Yeah. Bring the microphone over here. Yeah.
Can be fixed up.
Knees starting to get the best of them.
Still reeling from breaking my hip 9 weeks ago. It'll be 10 weeks Monday, I think. One thing that hopefully is positive, there's been a cash donation to Middle Creek Mining and I think they're prepared to kind of help with cleaning up the concrete from the LP footings there at the Peabody. Should make that look better when we get done. I think that should happen.
The commission's noticed that is where the ambulance is being stored and used out of Peabody now. The 4th Fire Board bought this from LP Company over a year ago.
Right.
Been in it for a while.
District 4.
But there's a bunch of propane tank concrete back there, and this is what's going on. They're removing it now. So, go ahead.
So I had a little donation to Frank, and I think he said that would buy the fuel and the labor, so that should get cleaned up here shortly. Make that look very attractive. And if the fire district builds something there, that'll be out of the way from it. So that's a positive, I think, that was done. And I think it's been some of the volunteers down there really thank me for the involvement in the past and present involvements. Thought it would make you guys aware that hopefully that gets cleaned up, looks better soon. Last will be the roads. What you're saying is, I don't know if I'm the only exception in the county that spent 3.5 years as a county motor grader, got one with lights, and I think I know how to do it right. Just about anybody has proved my ability to run one. And I see exactly what you said. That's been controversy when I do something. Like right now, there's one little stretch of road, nobody's been on it for 1.5 years, so I finally worked on it the other day, and a couple loads of rock, I just couldn't stand it any longer.
Point out one thing, Mike.
Huh?
None of that discussion was targeted at you.
No.
There was other issues that came up.
I've heard of a couple things.
Yeah, so that's really what
I
spiked.
can name more than my got fingers on people.
Yeah, we haven't had a
And
complaint up there.
Some have, probably don't have. So I mean, I'm the exception of have been allowed, and I've really concerned myself that instead of just making a pass over something, I gotta make 2 or 3 passes and make it perfect before I leave too. So there isn't that issue. 4th of July flood, is that coming up on 2 years or 3? Just 2, right?
2 this
Lo and
July.
behold, here a couple weeks ago, we finally got a couple loads of rye. Where it flooded almost 2 years ago. Hasn't been leveled up yet.
Still waiting for FEMA.
So, we had the neighbor's 40th anniversary Sunday, so pretty much the whole community gathered Sunday for a couple hours. The level of maintenance in our area is back to bad. I don't know how else to describe it. The one person has retired from one of our south area. The 1 week when I thought something should have been done, I guess I took it upon myself to spend half a tank of fuel in the whole day in my machine. He was on leave with his kids for spring break, so that answers why he wasn't out. But it still leaves a level, if we're 14 employees down, how do we begin to correct any of this? How serious do we take it? Is there immediate something temporary that would alleviate any of these issues? I mean, talk about a can of worms that don't know where you start, where you stop, where you throw. So I mean, usually when you look at it after the fact, it's like, okay, are we gonna get back to Burr Camp and they maintain a little more of the road? Last year at one point I got them to donate several loads of rock that I spread with my truck just to, but we've had bad spots for off and on for years, especially there's 4 or 5 now that I smoothed out the other day that if I wouldn't have done nothing, I mean, you would drag with a car. But why do I gotta do it? Why should I put, you know, the 1 mile between 280th and 90th, I've rocked it to the tune of 250 ton for the last 5 years at my expense. Why am I still doing that? We got a whole pile of hard rock sitting on the Lincolnville mixing strip. Everybody that was in the consensus said, yeah, they called in and, well, we're gonna get this rebuild and rock's gonna stay there till we do the rebuild. As well as I think what my now new commissioner said to me personally. So, are we just gonna let 5 or 6 of these bad spots go to worse shape? Or do we temporarily do something this week before it rains next?
You talking about 290th?
Yeah, especially the first 3.5 miles.
Oh.
And then from the quarry on around the Blue Stem County line and back, hasn't been bladed in over 2 months.
Does Burr Camp have any equipment over there that they could do anything on the road? If we contracted with them or something like that?
One of our former employees was working for him, and that's who kind of, where they did it on his own. I mean, it was just.
I'm just wondering if
they even hired me to blade it.
We could work something out with Burr Camp to contract that. How far is that from the road to the quarry?
You start at their quarry.
Do you remember what the contract was, Ken? What the contract was with them when they opened up? Was that you supposed to take care of 290th when they come in and ask for that?
Well, they were taking care of it during the wind farm construction.
That's, the contract goes back to the was tied into the wind farm agreement.
Yeah.
I believe, and don't.
You guys made the wind farm pay for it.
Yeah.
And don't quote me as being 100% correct, but that's what I've understood. And they have at times allowed me, I mean, rather than them take just a loader or something, I mean, I can just drop it where it needs to be, double it up. That road's pretty wide. Our biggest issue is just around some of the culvert areas, not draining properly. Either holds the water in the ditch, something as simple as 5 or 6 spots. In a couple days, you could fix all of them with a paddle scraper, dry enough with a loader. Yeah, here it is, years and years later, and we don't do nothing and just let the road continue to deteriorate.
It was a really nice road, and then all of a sudden there's this big old spot where it's wet and soggy for a little bit.
And we're going on, I mean, even before the wind farm here, these weakest spots were there, or spots that don't drain and the road base goes out, because it hasn't been but about 7 years when they kind of cut the shoulders and pushed all the dirt up there 2 weeks before we harvested, and we had the war of wars then. So we're not really in favor of them, what you would say, rebuild the road, unless it's just scrape it, put some more base material down, and then cap it with this good hard rock. I mean, if you drive by my house, from the house to the deal, takes all the road traffic. Right now, we're making 14 loads of feed, so that my heavy feed, single axle feed trucks comes up that road. I haven't touched it since November, and other than these last couple rains, getting a couple wash puddles up there on top, it has taken that traffic, I mean the general traffic plus my feed trucks. So we've proved once again this hard rock on the most traveled, most busiest roads or heaviest traffic is where we need to use that and use it. I mean, we've been trying for the last 8-10 years to convince the commission, and we're just the last couple of years we've bought more of it. I think Ken out your way, a couple of guys said, well, that just changed that road.
Yeah.
With one cover.
Yeah.
No special rebuild, just putting that rock down.
It's held. Yeah.
So again, maybe it costs about 1/3 more maybe up front. than anything else, but if it lasts twice as long or 3 times as long, it's where we still need to concentrate. And all we're gonna hear is, well, we're tired of calling in again, does no good.
Yeah.
Won't single out our engineer too much, but, and I know that health is a problem. We all experience that in business,
Mike,
you'll say the same thing, right? I mean, you're gonna have trouble keeping good health.
Working with Bryce to try to get improvements as much as we can. You know, I'm not gonna just say anything else, but we're working to try doing that and trying to get it done. Sometimes it don't meet some people's approval, but we're not up here just to let things go either, so. Thank you for your comments today.
Appreciate it.
And appreciate what else you do. But remember the other side of what we're looking at to try to protect you too when you're out on the road too, so.
It is very frustrating to see how people don't even begin to slow down when they eat. It is incomprehensible.
Of what our grader operators face.
Absolutely. And I pretty much just stay right there and then I just try to stop when they get there. And if I'm stopped, and even though I may be using 60% of the road, I hope it's good, or that they could get by me. But it is amazing that they will not wait at an intersection when you're just for 2 minutes for you to go on by, get past an intersection. With what I've witnessed over the years, more so than I thought 30 years ago when I worked for the county, or 20 years ago. The courtesy just isn't there anymore that used to be.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Party on, Garth.
All right. Brad, what do you bring to us today for executive session?
Personnel.
Okay.
Probably, oh gosh, I never know for sure. 15 minutes.
15 minutes? I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel with the board and Brad for 15 minutes. It'd be from 2:25 to 2:30 or 2:40. With open session resumed right back here in the commission chambers. Second by Kent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Did you get the email from Leslie?
Okay, back at 2:40.
Okay.
Yep.
I sent it to you.
I immediately forwarded it to the paralegal to get it attached to the agreement, so we're.
Okay.
Let
Let me get everything
Gives
turned
you a
off.
block to some.
Yeah, and then we'll have to talk about value, because when we put something in that we're reserving the right to.
It's on my hair. It's
Red light's on.
no dog.
This conference will now be recorded.
It's gonna help you stop.
Okay, coming out of executive session, no action taken. We have one thing left, and that's commission comments. And I remember Mr. Dave, he wouldn't let me do it at the beginning, so we'll do it at the end. Commissioner Mueller, go right ahead. You have comments.
Commission comments should be at the end. I had two things that I wanted to bring up. I really appreciated the strategic planning session. I think we've brought out a lot of ideas. There's a lot of work to be done. Now it's up to us to follow through on that work. Afterwards, I kicked myself pretty hard. She asked for assignments on the county administrator proposal and didn't say anything, and I regret that. So I guess what I would ask the commission, if they would be agreeable to perhaps assign a committee. I think Jonah would be willing to help. So Jonah and I look at options for the county administrator position, gather information, collect questions from the other commissioners, and then just try to start putting some information of options together for the board. Again, I really kicked myself for not speaking up, but I was kind of, I told John I got the deer in the headlights look that day. it's kind of daunting at the time, because it's gonna take some time and research. Jonah's already done a lot on it, but I think there's some options out there. Maybe look at, before we can make a decision, yes or no, at least get more questions answered. If that is something the commission would be interested. I would be willing to put in the time, and I think Jonah would be willing to also.
I'd be willing to put in the time, and I would appreciate any help on
Yep.
it, so.
Yep.
Commission, do we have some general consensus that we'd like to do this? And take a look at what's available out there and see where we want to go, see what's decided for Marion County? And just the biggest thing I want to know is how I can present it to the public.
Sure.
That's the big thing.
Yep. Well, again, it's a matter of gathering the information, answering a lot of those questions, nailing things down, not spending any money on it, just gathering information and trying to answer questions, trying to answer concerns. But try to bring that together, and that's something I think the two of us can do, is bring that together then in a package and present what options maybe are available. Does that sound right, John?
Well, I'd be looking for any of your, like I said, I come from where I had one, I'm easily sold on it.
Right.
I need to know what you're concerned about, what you don't,
Right.
what you fear about it or whatever, so we can work the pros and
Don't get
cons.
the wrong guy.
Well, yeah.
That's the key.
There's one key
But there's
thing.
no guarantees, I know.
The wrong guy.
But there's
or girl.
procedures you can use
Wrong person.
to increase the odds of getting the right person.
Yeah, there is some things we can do to.
Right. And that's what I think we could gather some of that information that maybe would alleviate some of that fear. But again, there's other options available that again, I'm just asking if the commission would be willing to give us permission just to gather the information. Agree not to do it, that's fine. But I think we make the better decisions if we have
I
that.
feel we need the information.
Yeah.
Get it educated. Something.
And I think something that I would like to have is something, I don't want to refer myself to Harvey County, Sedgwick County, or Butler County, because they're bigger than we are.
Mm-hmm.
I want something, some information from somebody our size that handles what we do, not 500 employees, not 1,000, 2,000, whatever they got. I'm just saying something that refers somewhat similar to us and see how they handle it.
And maybe there's other options
There might be, I don't
of
know.
management assistance
Yeah.
that would still benefit the county.
Yeah.
I think I would ask our directive be to explore options and bring back information.
Yeah. Does anybody have any problems with
I don't have a problem with it.
No, well, I think, I don't know that I've got the powers to do this, but I'd direct you to work as a team and see, bring it back to the rest of the commission and see what we can do.
Do they need to make a motion about that?
See, I told you I didn't have the power to do that. I make a motion to direct Jonah Gehring, Commissioner Gehring, and Commissioner Mueller, Dave Mueller, to work on sort of something that fits Marion County as a county, either management or advisor or something to that effect, whatever title you come up with.
Executive secretary.
Yeah. Something to that effect.
I'd say to gather information and options.
Yeah, options, information options, that's my motion.
I'll second.
Kent seconds, all those in favor, Commissioner Mueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Crowfoot,
Aye.
Commissioner Becker,
Aye.
Commissioner Gehring,
Aye.
Commissioner Dolphy, aye, 5-0.
Again, it's just to gather information.
Okay. Well,
Don't have
is that
any.
one of them?
Well,
You
that's
got
one of
more?
them. I got another for you.
Do we have to put time limits for Garrett?
At some point,
I've
that's an
saved
option.
up for a month
Okay,
now.
okay, all right.
I've saved up for a month. I know Commissioner Becker's brought up the issue before of long-term plan for replacing equipment, road and bridge. And I've heard it mentioned, talked about, putting together some type of plan.
It's on the website.
No, for equipment,
Yeah, there is one.
for road and bridge.
There is.
But it's outdated.
Not really a full 5 year.
Well,
in my opinion,
Yeah.
It could use.
It would be improved,
exploration,
Yes.
right?
He's for
Yeah.
progressing.
Okay.
We have looked at, Bryce has drafted, but I think it needs to probably be a little more specific, a little more inclusive, because, I don't wanna get to most of this stuff we have to finance,
Yep.
or all of it.
Yep.
You don't wanna get into a place where you're financing 4 things one year, 1 thing there, and 5 things. We need to have a rolling plan where we replace a couple every year.
So I guess my request then would be that we have a work session with our engineer to try to come up with a plan with his input, and then commission give it direction.
I think he should bring his plan to us
Mhm.
so we can review it and say, no, we need to get more detail, or this is great.
But it's gonna take more than just the 15 minutes
Right.
and whether that be before or after, whether that be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Have you not seen anything about equipment today? Either one of us has seen.
I guess I haven't.
You have, Joe, or Dave has, so we have, but you haven't.
I haven't.
So would the commission say that we just need to ask him to bring a copy of what he has for right now?
Well, I think he would have a proposal, given the time.
Oh, you're asking him to go ahead with a proposal or
No,
something?
I'm asking him to draft a proposal to bring to the commission.
He's got one now, has
It's
a
a
number
year.
of miles and years and stuff on each vehicle.
But what I'm hearing from.
It's a year old.
But at least.
It's a year old, and
Yeah, we need to, it's time to look at it again anyway.
Okay.
I mean, I think we ought to look at it more than once a year.
Need to-
Okay, then maybe it's review the current.
Yeah, we could call it a review, and if we're not happy with it, we
Okay.
can.
But then, again, allotting a time.
I will take it upon myself to go down and set the price and say, we'd just like to have a review to start with, and what your plan for equipment is. And we'll go from there.
And then with that, I'm making the list, I tell you. They're still working out of a 40-year-old shop, or 1940s shop. I don't know of any modern farmer that's still working out of a 1940s shop with equipment. If he has ideas, suggestions, proposals, then we put that in with that work session. And maybe by then we'll even have some policy. I mean, it's a long list.
We're running into now, he and I talked last Friday. They've got that hoist, an old style one that's manual in there, but they're supposed to have that thing checked and recertified on a periodic basis, and KDHE is supposed to be out here at any time. And it's a lot of form over substance in some ways. I made a couple of phone calls after he and I spoke, and we don't get a lot of guidance. The statute doesn't say, well, how the heck do you certify this thing, and who does it? The company that made it still exists, but we're talking about multiple states away and thousands of dollars to show up, just to look at it and go, yep, looks like it's still working. And then there was one out in Kansas City, but again, $1,200 to $1,500 just to have them do that. So the question became, as an engineer, could he just provide, the internal certification? I haven't found anything that says he can, so we probably will do that. But a lot of those kinds of things come up in terms of how we operate within a structure like that and its age, and things that probably just need to be addressed.
I think in general, we need to have a work session with our engineer, because there's other issues too that I think we need to address and see where we stand.
But be sure he knows about it ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
So he can prepare.
Right.
And then present options, ideas, suggestions.
I mean, we instituted this tickler system, 2 years ago? And I'm still getting people that say they called in a year ago. And our intent was for them to continue to communicate with them, but sooner or later we're gonna get there. They're not hearing it.
I just spoke of that to him, Ken, just within the last 3 weeks. And he said, well, the problem is to go back in the past years and get all where it was. I said, because we'd like to know where the rock's distributed. We'd like to know that, and it should be on this system. And has a little problem. He had a few excuses that we need to start from current instead of going back. Well, I can understand some of that, but we got to start somewhere to getting it on there so that when a road, this person that called and said I ain't had it on for 2 years, well, we need to know better. We need to have answers, and I mean we don't like to have that. So I will go down and talk to him yet today and see if he's still around here in a little bit. And I got equipment plan 5 years, road bridge shop building, and I will tell you that's been off and on for the last 15 years. We thought maybe we would be able to go to the south shop out there, but getting water and sewer and everything. Utilities out there become a big problem.
Right.
And so, that expensive problem.
Right.
So that's one thing that's, I'd love to see it out there because I'm not real sold, even though we may have the ground up here where it's at, but we come right down through the middle of town and.
Well, and then again, that's another part of this discussion.
And the other issue is having a working relationship with, if you're gonna keep it in Marion, you're gonna have to have a relationship with it, because we already got next on the place that would work the best.
Yes, correct. Very correct, yeah, so.
But just in light of, it's getting close to budget time, we're gonna do more in-depth looking at storage, other office space. To me, now's the time to get the information. Get the information on the replacement plan, get the information on the building.
Well, I can assign myself to do what I need to bring to you guys for the size lot and everything over here, what it is, and I can do that, so I can make that assignment.
Sure,
myself.
I don't need to make a motion?
No, you don't need to make a motion for that, I can do that, so. So, anyway, I will do that, because I think everybody needs to know what we could do and what's over there, and where the utilities are and stuff like that, so. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any other commission comments?
I was remiss. 2 weeks ago, I intended to give an acknowledgement from the commission to the Hillsborough High School basketball team for winning another state title.
Yeah.
Coach Darryl Canole for his fourth one, I think.
Wow, my bad.
And so I think just as a commission, we need to issue that. We have a minute.
Did I see it was 2A? Was Hillsborough 2A?
Yep.
Yes.
There's no 3A teams in Marion County anymore. Marion is also.
Wow. Okay.
Dave hit on 2 of the items. So that's the 2 items out of the strategic planning. Is there anything we need to do to help with the digitize?
I was kind of waiting for a report from WSU, if that's okay. And now, if you have other ideas or you want me to take some action now, then I can. But she said that she should have a report to us within 2 weeks. So
just making sure we don't drop the ball on our end if we need to assist or help.
Okay.
To achieve those goals.
Tina, do you have any final business?
Nope, not that I can think of.
All right, well, thanks everybody today, and I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by John, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you, Brad.
Mm-hmm.